Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Arsenal have reached a total agreement with Bologna to sign Riccardo Calafiori. But who is next? That's the big question that we are going to look at in this video. Mikel Merino, some sources are suggesting that Arsenal could now ramp up the Mikel Merino deal so that Mikel Arteta has Mikel Merino and Calafiori, two of his top targets before we get into preseason. Other sources are saying it is likely to be a goalkeeper, and Arsenal could go in back for Wolves goalkeeper Dan Bentley. We're also going to talk about that as well. But of course, the big question here is Riccardo Calafiori. When he signs, what exactly do Arsenal do next? I will also talk about Chido Obi Martin. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal have done whatever they could to keep Chido Obi Martin. However, the player has decided to move on from Arsenal and go and sign for Manchester United. That really hurts me. But listen, it is what it is. Transfers are transfers. You win on some ends and you lose on some ends as well. I want Chido Obi Martin to stay, and I wish he could stay at Arsenal, but if he decides to leave, then we've got to move on. This project is bigger than Chido Obi Martin, and Arsenal have always been, and they will always be bigger than Chido Obi Martin. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Where do we start? Let's start off with that big story from Fabrizio Romano that Arsenal have now exclusively agreed and reached a total agreement for Riccardo Calafiori after breakthrough was revealed earlier on today. He understands that 40 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons is what Arsenal will be paying, and there will be a sell-on clause in this deal. Final step needed as Barca and Bologna need to agree on a 50% sell-on payment terms. Then here we go, will be announced very soon. As per the moment, at the moment right now, Arsenal are not concerned with whatever these two do. We are not concerned. Yes, they are delaying the deal, but this now cannot block our deal. After Bologna agreeing with Arsenal on 45 million euros plus 5 in add-ons, we are not 100% going to be affected by what happens in the payment discussion between Bologna and Barca. And I pray, and we all pray, that doesn't take a long time. That doesn't take a long time. They should just sit down, discuss how much is going to be paid across what installments, and then they should give us the green light to put the player on medicals, and also to announce the player as well, as we have very little time. We are flying for preseason very quickly. Now, just a few important add-ons there. Fabrizio has revealed, as well as Ryan Taylor Sport, that Edu and Mikel Arteta have worked tooth and nail on this one. They have worked day and night. They've burned some midnight candles to get this deal done. So if you're giving credit to Arsenal, you're giving credit to Mikel Arteta, and you're giving credit to Edu as well. In the end, it wasn't such an easy deal. You had to beat the competition from Juve, PSG, Leverkusen, Chelsea, and a couple of other clubs. We did that successfully. But even after doing that, we had to really negotiate the terms and conditions with Bologna. That was going to take some time, because Bologna always felt like their player had a maximum value that they looked at, and they're like, we could get a lot of money from this guy. And what Arsenal did to cover that was to tell them, look, let's give you a sell-on clause. If we sell him in the future, and you think we are going to sell him at a profit, 100%, we shall give you some good money after selling Riccardo Calafiori. So Riccardo Calafiori, guys, at the moment, it's 79.9% done. When he does his medicals, that will be 80%, and of course when he gets his media duties done, that will be 90%, and then the here we go will be confirmed very soon. So that one is in the bag. Now Fabrizio, not really today, but just a few hours ago again, he's actually come out and said that Chido Obi Martin is not going to be staying with Arsenal. His exclusive interview says that Arsenal consider Chido Obi Martin gone. Despite big proposal from Arsenal, he's leaving the club this summer. Chido visited Manchester United as they are pushing to sign him. He visited the Manchester United training ground. Bayern, Newcastle, Monaco, Frankfurt also made contact. Decision expected very soon. Man City are not in the race to sign Chido Obi Martin. One thing I'm going to say about Chido, guys, is I am not going to pretend like Arsenal are not losing a generational talent of an academy player. I think this boy is rated higher than the way we would have rated Omar Hutchinson. I think he's rated higher than Omar Hutchinson. He's rated than any striker, more than Edin Ketia, and higher than Florin Balogun. So he's rated than any striker that Arsenal have produced out of their academy in recent years. That is where we rate Chido Obi Martin. So I'm not going to sit here and say Arsenal didn't lose anything. I think we've lost a good player, and I think we should have done maybe better at an earlier stage to try and keep him. Fabrizio says that Arsenal did everything they could to try and keep Chido Obi Martin, but he decided to leave. He visited Manchester United, and it looks like he's going to be off to Manchester United as well. The one thing I want to say here with Arsenal kids and Arsenal's development of youngsters is we've got to review the process through which we acquire and lose our top talents from the academy. We've got to review that process. We've got to look at exactly when do you sign these players and what is the future plan. Because Fabrizio says that Arsenal offered him a very big lucrative offer and he turned it down, a good scholarship, and he turned it down. So that means that we should have looked to get to Chido Obi Martin a few months ago, a few years ago, before the situation got bad at the moment. Because, listen, I'm not going to lie. If a player doesn't want to be there, if a player doesn't want to stay with you, then you let him go. Arsenal is bigger than Chido Martin, and Arsenal have always been bigger than Chido Martin, and Arsenal will always be bigger than Chido Obi Martin. But it's also better for us to keep our best talents. You don't want a Serge Gnabry to happen every single time. You don't want such situations to happen every single time where you have a good player, you let them go from the academy, and then at some point in time, you're looking to bring them back on huge wages. So Chido Obi Martin, is it going to be a success? Let's wait and see, but Arsenal have actually missed out on that one. He's considered gone, and Arsenal have given up on trying to convince the player and on trying to wait for the player as well. Now, next signing, that is where we are. Who is going to be our next signing? Before we get there, it's being reported by Ryan Taylor that most sales are going to accelerate the deals for Arsenal to sign players this summer. Literally, that means that as we get into the final days of July, we're going to see a lot of sales. Kivio, Nketiah, Zinchenko. Zinchenko has changed his agency. That could mean that if an opportunity is there, they might actually want to take it. So Kivio, Zinchenko, Nketiah, ESR, Reece Nelson, all these guys are on their way out of Arsenal, plus Aaron Ramsdale. And the policy at Arsenal this summer is very clear. One player goes out, one player comes in. So we might see a replacement for ESR, a replacement for maybe, at the moment, Reece Nelson, a replacement for anyone that actually goes out. So sales are expected to happen at Arsenal, and those sales are expected to accelerate the incomings. But I wish, and this is a little bit selfish, but I wish we can get our deals done in terms of incomings, and then we can deal with the fallout later. Can we get Merino in? Can we get Calafiori in? Can we get Gyökeres in? After doing that, then can we get these players out? Because I think what Arsenal are trying to do here, which is smart by the way, is if you sign Gyökeres, clubs are going to understand that you're desperate to let go of Edin Ketia. So what you have to do is you have to first let go of Gyökeres first. Sorry, you let go of Nketiah first, and then you sign Gyökeres later. That's a good strategy because clubs now cannot really tap into your despair to sell. They know you can keep Eddie if you wanted, but you're just selling because it's the right time and it's the right opportunity. So with more sales expected, you expect more incomings. And of course, with the goalkeeping department, expect an incoming regardless of a sell. So who is our next signing? let's start off with the goalkeeping situation, right? Let's start off with the goalkeeping situation. Of course, Tommy Setford, Fabrizio said that the medicals were booked. That's the last time we heard about Tommy Setford. Medicals booked, right? Medicals booked. That's the last time we heard about Tommy Setford. But I'm going to say this. With Tommy Setford, I think he joins us, and then he's going to be part of preseason, right? But before we get to play Manchester United, that is on the 28th of this month. That is 8 days away. That's a space of 1 week. So before 1 week, right? Before 1 week comes to an end, Arsenal have a new goalkeeper. And in my opinion, Arsenal's next signing is going to be a goalkeeper. It's going to be a guy that can come in and be part of our preseason. Now, on top of my list, I have 3 names. I have Lunin, the Ukrainian goalkeeper at Madrid. I have Jean Garcia at Espanyol. And I also have Dan Bentley at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Dan Bentley is the easier deal. There's no question about that. He's the easier deal. With Dan Bentley, you have 3 things. 1, you have a player who wants to join Arsenal. You have a player that is appreciated by Inaki Keina, the goalkeeping coach at Arsenal. And then you have a ridiculously cheap deal. Like, how did we become so cheap that we cannot sign a 1 million player? Like 1 million. I remember we paid 1 million for Alexander Runarsson. How are we failing to pay 1 million for a goalkeeper who's 30 years of age? Not so much Premier League proven, but I can say Premier League proven a little bit. He's played a few games and trained for Premier League games. I think if you get him as a third-choice goalkeeper, that is okay. And using him in preseason, that will be wonderful. That will be absolutely wonderful for me. So I think the first option as our next first candidate is going to be Dan Bentley. I know many of you don't really want him. I know many of you don't even understand who this guy is. Personally, I don't as well. But he looks like the next likely signing. He looks like the next player Arsenal are going to sign. So that is the one. Now, why I would think about Lunin at Madrid and Garcia is if we can get Aaron Ramsdale out of the door quickly. We know that Burnley are interested, and we know that Southampton are very much interested as well. If Southampton could make quick progress on Aaron Ramsdale within the next maybe 1 week, before Arsenal sign another player, then Arsenal can 100% go and sign Garcia, because we have been told by Matt Moretto and a couple of other reliable outlets that John Garcia is priority to replace Aaron Ramsdale. He's young. He's a little bit cheaper. He can go for around £12 million this summer. And Arsenal are confident they can get that deal done. So I think our next signing must, and I'm going to go ahead and say will be a goalkeeper. But I want us to talk about Mikel Merino as well. Because with Mikel Merino, for him, according to the recent reports I've been looking through, he's coming in as a replacement for ESR. That was according to Kaya Kainak from Football.London. And I think Ryan Taylor as well collaborated in that story, did he? I think he did. Did he? I think he did. So Mikel Merino is viewed as a replacement for ESR. By the way, I want to say this before we get any further. Arsenal are not crazy about selling ESR. They're actually crazy about keeping him. But the reason that's why I'm looking at Mikel Merino as one of the likely next signings at Arsenal is this, guys. Sociedad are selling to the high speeder. That's number one. What's this? That's number one, right? They're selling to the high speeder. Secondly, Sociedad being that they're selling to the high speeder, Mikel Merino wants a big contract, right? Thirdly, ESR is on the verge of leaving Arsenal. The mathematics is done. Guys, the mathematics is there on the table. It's there. If Mikel Merino is going to be ESR's next replacement. He's going to cost massively cheaper than ESR. He's 28. His contract has 1 year to go. So it's going to be cheaper. Arsenal will have around 32 to 33 million from the sale of ESR this summer, right? And we will need a replacement. So as simple as that. It's going to be about ESR going out and Mikel Merino coming in. So I won't be surprised if Mikel Merino is our next signing, but I won't be shocked at all if our next signing is actually a goalkeeper, because we need a goalkeeper. We need goalkeepers. I think at this point in time, Arsenal need to write a big proposal, like a big advert to put out to on the streets. If you're a goalkeeper and you know you can play ball, come, Arsenal need you. You're the next guy. We need to throw out adverts on social media, on television. Do we still use the Telegraph? Do we? I don't know. So I'm gonna say next signing, goalkeeper, 70%, 30% midfielder, and that's Mikel Merino. We'll talk more. I'm live at 5.